Hi, welcome to the Glendale Police Department. Come on in. My name is Lieutenant Dan Suttles. I work in the patrol division of our Glendale Police Department. So, as you can see, we're going to have our open house, but we can't have the open house like we've had it in the past. We have to do it in a virtual world. Part of what we do for our open house is we like to invite people to come into our department so they can see what it is that we do here. So, we like to do that in the virtual world. Specifically, working in the patrol units, what I would like to be able to show you today is what our patrol officers do when they're not actually out in the field or out in the city responding to calls or doing proactive policing. They spend probably about 90% of their time actually out in the field, but the other 10% of the time they spend here in this building. So, what do they do here? Well, I want to show you. So come on, I'll show you. So when our patrol officers start their day, every patrol officer starts in this room. This room is our briefing room. So the purpose of this is that with our patrol officers and the way that they work, they're in the field, they're in their own patrol cars, they're alone all shift long. So one of the biggest advantages we have to having a briefing every day before work is that we get a chance to actually be together. And this is the actual room that we use to do that. And so as you can see, we have a lot of different chairs, but we can keep our social distancing, right? But we have our plenty of room in here that we can have many officers that gather for the first part of their shift. So for the first half hour of every day, this is where we'll be. The purpose of this is to make sure that all of our officers know what assignments they have for the day, meaning that every city has different districts that we break up our city into. So they'll find out what district they're working in. They'll find out what car they're going to drive that day. They'll find out whatever other assignment, special assignment they may have. This is where they find out. But also it gives us an opportunity to actually be together for a good half hour that we can do some training, where we can talk about laws that have changed. This is where we have the opportunity to do that. Also, if you have problems in your neighborhood and you've complained to the police about them, this is where we talk about it. So we do what we call extra patrol. For example, that might be if you have seen some graffiti in an area, or you see cars that are parked in areas they shouldn't be parked at during times of the night that they shouldn't be there. This is where we talk about it and we say to our officers, if you could, if you're not on a call, why don't you swing by there and take care of it? That's what we do here. So from here, the officers will go out into our garage where we keep all of our cars and they'll check out their car. So you know what? Come with me, we'll check it out. Like I was saying, after the officers are in the briefing room and it's time for them to go to work, they come out here and they find the car that they're assigned for that day. Because every day we have a different car that we actually get. Sometimes it might be the same one, but you never know. So it's very important for each officer to check out their car. It's on them, it's their responsibility to make sure that everything works in here. And there's computers and there are plenty of equipment and the car itself has got to be in working condition. So it's on them to make sure that everything is working and everything is up to speed and they have everything they need. So sometimes that can take up to 10 to 15 minutes of the first part of their day, is just making sure they have everything they're going to need for their next few hours, their next 12 hours that they work on patrol. So these are our cars. We try to, as you can see, this is a Ford Explorer. You probably noticed that we used to have the Ford Crown Victorias, but now we have the Ford Explorers, so we're kind of stepping up in the world. These are very nice vehicles and they do the job quite well. One of the last things I wanted to show you is our report writing room. So our vehicles, the vehicles that we saw earlier, those are rolling offices. Basically, the officers can do everything they need to do within the car. But sometimes they run into an incident that's a little more complex. They may need to do a little more writing or maybe lay out some evidence or process evidence. So we have this room for them to utilize. So come on in, I'll show it to you. So as you can see, we have multiple workstations that are set up. And again, so if you have an incident in which we've arrested somebody or we have a lot of evidence that was collected in the field, we may need this room to be able to spread out and process everything that we have. Or to sit in an area that gives us an opportunity to spend more time on the report. When we might need to do that is when the officers come to the end of the shift, and as we discussed earlier, we had to give up one of our patrol cars to another oncoming officer. So now the officer doesn't have a vehicle to work in anymore. So they'll come in here and work. Now it's very important also that the officers have a place that they can process their evidence. So they'll come back in here, they'll process whatever they need to process on our computers, but also they have to package all of the evidence as well. So the evidence is extremely important because from the officer's time that they arrest somebody to the time that the report is written, the investigators get a hold of it, they do all the investigations that they need to do, and then it's taken to a district attorney's office and charges are actually filed. By the time a case actually gets to a courthouse, a lot of time has passed. So it's extremely important that we have the opportunity to process and to log all the evidence in a controlled environment. That's exactly what this room allows us to do. So I hope you enjoyed seeing the room. I hope that you enjoyed our virtual tour. I wish we could have had you here personally, but at least we got a chance to talk about some of the things that our patrol officers do and how they utilize this building. So like I said, my name is Lieutenant Dan Suttles, and I just want to thank you all very much for joining me on this virtual tour. It's a shame that you all couldn't be here in person, but we do this every year, and hopefully next year it'll be in person, and I look forward to seeing all of you here so I can show you the entire department in person. Have a great day.